Hi fam. Namaste, shalom, assalamu alaikum. Hope everyone is okay. Um, had a few days off of doing my diary, mainly because I had other things on, and it's just been it just feels like this real dense, dark energy about the place. So I didn't really. I mean, there's lots to say, but sometimes it's better not to say anything at all. um, so it's quite funny what's going on. I'm just in my personal experience at the moment with narcissists, and I don't even like using the word narcissist. It's just I hate labels actually in general, but at this particular moment in time, understanding about narcissists and narcissism is important for everybody. It's not just something that's from my personal experience, although it started off like that, but actually the more that the more that you get to understand about the behaviors and traits, and it applies so much to what is going on now. It really does. And obviously I can't go into exact details because I can't legally, but I can skirt around it. So my exes, particularly the most recent one, of obviously narcissists, and the reason I keep talking about it as well, it's not about me so much. I just want to share my experience because I hope that it can help other people that are in similar situations. That's always been my intention, because the statistics on this are scary, and there's I think 2 billion women and children that are abused by men at the moment. There's 243 million more reported cases of domestic abuse, and that'll be by a narcissist, in the last 12 months. And that does not include women that abuse men, not narcissistic women, and it also doesn't include covert narcissists. And so knowing, like, everyone can have narcissistic traits to a lesser or more degree, and it really just depends on your life experience, like what's happened to you in your life, in your childhood, what trauma, if any trauma occurs, or abuse, or neglect, and that is what will impact those behaviors and bring them out or not. Um, so do I believe a narcissist can change? Yeah, I do. Because ultimately, that, as I just said, it's their it's directly as a result of something that's happened to them that they haven't healed. So if they are able to see these traits in themselves, recognize these traits, and acknowledge that they do these things, and be prepared to put in the work to change and heal, which is possible, then they can change. But it's a choice, isn't it? So anyway, where was I going? They've kind of they've formed a team, I suppose, if you want to call it that way, because they live near to each other. And it's funny because they can't get to me directly because they know that then they're using that I'll have evidence of it. So they're trying to do it indirectly, and they're roping in toxic recruits, let's put it that way. So one of them was somebody I knew from ages ago, and she just started getting nasty. So I just said, anything that you put in writing to me, I will use against you, because you're putting it, you're giving me evidence of what you're doing. So that stopped her. But because they don't know what I am doing at all, it's driving them mad. So in terms of what I'm doing work-wise, what I'm doing personally, because they're all blocked on my social media. And they're now going to lengths of trying to recruit other people. So randomly, when a couple of days ago, like midnight, I got this message, right, of a guy that, and in fact, I've talked about this with this guy. He himself is a narcissist. I talked about him. I think I must just attract them. I don't know. Anyway, this is from when? 2000, right? So this guy was living with the girl that I put an end to, that I just told you about there. So he was living with her in a house share, and he was he didn't, no one knew this, but he was married and had kids. And he'd come down on a Monday morning, stay in the house share, and then leave on a Friday and go back home. But he never told anybody he was married and had kids. And I got wrapped up in that shitstorm there. And as soon as I found out, I put an end to it, because I was like, don't make me part of your fucking fuckery. Anyway, so that's 2000. 2001. From then, right? From then. So I saw him once in 2013 for about an hour briefly, because he just happened to be in London and he messaged me. I had a coffee with him and that was it. So from then, 2013, and then not seen him or heard from him, right? And he messages me. And I didn't even, I read the first line of the message and I was just like, straight block. Because it was like, oh, I don't know what's been happening. And I thought, here we go. She's obviously roped him into messaging me to try and find out what I'm doing. Like, so I was like, no, straight block. And then someone else has just done it again today. They're just itching. They're itching to know what I'm doing and what I'm up to try and somehow twist it. And it's like, it's killing them. And they always find a way of turning a solution into a problem. And I'm going to read you some of the traits, and it's important. I'll tell you, because I shared this post the other day about this, and with what the traits are. And then I found this video about how family groups can form, narcissistic family groups. I mean, this is all information. This isn't me going, make this shut up. These are psychologists that study narcissism and narcissistic. It's a personality disorder, in fact, as they call it, right? And yeah, you have family groups. And I watched this one on the it's called the Narcissistic Family Cult. And my God, it just nails it down to an absolute T of what it can be like. Because I'll put the links into these. But that just sums up exactly what my ex's family's like. Because they, I mean, obviously they're criminals as well. So, but then criminals are narcissists and vice versa. So, but they don't want, they don't want women talking about any abuse that they suffer at the hands of the men in that family. They hide that. They hide any kind of abuse, basically. They sweep it under the carpet like it's not even a thing. And they certainly don't talk about any of the criminal activity that's going on, and they're churchgoers, and then like to judge people with a churchy, holier than thou attitude. It's like, hold on a minute. How can you put yourself up so high on a pedestal, on a holy one, and be hiding and committing all these crimes? And it's not little ones either. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm starving, so I'm stealing a loaf of bread from a shop kind of thing. These are big organized crimes with lots of people involved. And ultimately, part of this thing was saying about how they make it, you know, if you do dare speak out, that you get made a scapegoat, and they will go out. They will do everything and anything within their power to destroy you, and use anything they can against you. They will turn people against you. They will have people watch you, and it really just depends on how the level of those people. And unfortunately, the ones that I'm dealing with are pretty serious. And they just can't believe that I would dare do it. So, and I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it to. I'm. It's like they go, "Oh, you're so spiteful." That, you know, spiteful. It's like I'm just standing up for myself for being abused for 8 years, mate. That is all I am doing. And I'm not only standing up for myself, I'm doing it to try and pay forward all of the people that tried to help me that I ignored, of which there were so many. So many people tried to stop me um, from getting in that relationship, from being in that relationship, from continuing that relationship. So many people on my side and his. Even his friends were warning me against him, telling me all these things that he's done. His exes, other people, just constantly. And I didn't want to believe it. I didn't. I was so in love with him. I genuinely thought, and this is the stupid, you know, when you look, when hindsight is a wonderful thing, and you go back, you sort of piece it, like rerun it from the beginning, like, oh my days, like, what was I doing? Um, because I was really honest from the get-go, but my honesty in telling him what had previously happened to me with the previous narcissist that I was with was like me just handing him on a silver platter exactly how to use me psychologically. Me just being truthful about my previous relationship and what he did to me, right? Just was like handing him a golden ticket, which he gladly took. And then that's just how he used his began his manipulation. And you know, from the get-go, he drip fed me, um, "Oh, my exes are crazy, and they're probably gonna contact you, but don't worry about it, they're crazy." Right? You know, when you think back now, like, "Oh, no, they weren't crazy, though, were they? You are the common fucking denominator." It's so you know, like, "Oh, what? Wait, they all had the same experience with you." And the previous one, I didn't know, sort of, obviously, initially, was the one he went to prison for GBH against, and his family got rid of her, so she didn't testify, so he didn't do the 9 years or whatever he should have done, and only did 2, right? She was trying to warn me, God bless her, for 5 years. 5 years. 5 years via every possible channel she could. It was Facebook, it was Instagram. She found me on Etsy. She messaged me on there. She found me on eBay. She messaged me on there. She found me on. I was on casting sites. She found me on there, and she messaged me on that. Like, she was relentless. But obviously, he teed me up for this. He teed me up. She's crazy. And so obviously, when I was getting it, it's like, oh, she is crazy, isn't she? Because I was thinking, why is she messaging me so much? She's trying to help me, is what she was trying to do. She's trying to warn me. And ultimately, he actually cheated on her. He cheated on me with her when I was performing, lied about it to my face when she messaged me on one of these things saying that he had. Barefaced lied to me we're in bed. I showed him. It's like, oh yeah, 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 that's like, she's crazy. And anyway, so I then replied looking like a right dick, going, "You're so crazy." I lied. I lied for him. I went, I was with him, even though I wasn't, because I believed his lie, saying that he wasn't with her. So I sort of backed him up, going, he was with me the entire time. What are you talking about, right? This went on all day. She's messaging me all day, and I just ignored it, ignored it. And I thought, no, I'll read them. So I read them, and she'd sent me screenshots of their conversation, of their text conversation. And needless to say, he had been there, and he had shagged her. That was just one of, I couldn't even tell you how many times. Fucking thousand, probably 1,000. Because he was sleeping around with all sorts, because he's a tramp. But that said, so anyway, so obviously now their plan has failed. Like, they wanted to try and destroy me individually and collectively, and they're just failing, and it's driving them up the wall because they can't get to me directly. And now they're just trying to rope in other people. And this is the other thing that my friends don't understand, is I knew that this day would come. I knew this day would come. I knew that they would, because he'd said it would come. He threatened to kill me so many times. He threatened to kill my mum. He never threatened the kids, but he threatened to kill us so many times. And he'd say, in fact, I won't kill you. I'll get someone I know to kill you. And it's not like, when you know the family, and you know all of their crimes, and you also know all of their associates, and these are people that have been in my house, that have been in prison for murder, that I've had to entertain. It becomes a bit more real when you know there's lots of them within that group that have done that, and have gotten rid of people, and have kidnapped people, and have broken people's arms and legs, and have done all of those things that you see on TV programs and hear about in somebody else's life somewhere. That is them. And they can't believe that I'd speak out better because of that. The fact is, it's the truth. And I just won't. I knew, and he'd said, if I ever try, sort of truly left him, or caught, did this, that he would do something. It would make him. It would be like hitting. What was the word he used to use? Like, he's got a self-destruct button, like a red button, and he'd do anything. And he'd rather go to prison for killing me than he would for me to have the kids. Yeah, that's the level. And he say that to me. So I had to take, part of doing this diary, part of keeping a record of all of this is for that reason. And it's also for the reason of keeping a diary of the events of what's going on in the world, because we should be keeping a record of it, and we should be keeping a record of how it's affecting our lives as individuals. And it's also a record for my children so that they can see that I did this for them. And that was my absolute intention and goal the entire time of everything I'm doing, of which this is just one. And that I never stopped fighting for them, and I never stopped thinking about them. I never stopped loving them, and I certainly didn't abandon them. And it also, and most important, another important one for me is for other people. As I said, it's to pay forward, because it wasn't until I got out of it and then I went, why am I still so like what is it about this whole thing that I just felt lost? I felt like I'd lost myself. Didn't know who I was anymore at all. I was just an empty shell of a person. and then I just woke up one day and went, oh, you know what? How do I become happy? Oh, I know, I'll look that up. How, what is, I just wanted to understand it. I wanted to understand what depression was. So I looked it up, and then I went from there to looking up all of the different elements of depression and why it is, and narcissism, and read all the books on that and do all of the courses on that. And the more that you look, and then you start actually implementing all of the things that are suggested along the way, and you start feeling better along with it, you're like, oh, hold on. It just, and now looking back on it, it's like, oh, why did I do that fucking sooner? Like, simplest thing. How do I get over depression? Google search. Boom. Read all of those ones on the top page there, and then it will give you hints and tips. Do all of those things. And as soon as you do the things that say that they recommend, it will help you feel better and be happier, and you actually do them, but do them consistently, then you feel better and are happier. And obviously, and as well as that, in that process, and just knowing in the back of my mind the people that I pissed off and was continuing to piss off, and the attacks that they were already doing, and I was recording. Uh, I thought, no, I've got to take this dead serious, as seriously as he's serious, and I've got to be on point at all times. And to do that meant cutting out everything else. And that as well, that in itself, people can't understand. So I was like, I'm not going to see anybody again. That's actually as a favor to them, because I don't want to get anyone else fucking wrapped up in this shit either. They don't see it that way. They're like, oh, why isn't she coming out? Why isn't she seeing us? She's got a problem with us. It's like, no, I haven't got a problem with any single one of you. I just don't want you to get sucked in to this hell any more than I want to be in it. So I'm trying to do you a favor. Just take it as a favor, and I'll see you on the other side. Like, seriously. Um, so yeah, so then I was like, obviously alcohol's an antidepressant, so give that up. Caffeine doesn't messes with your sleep. Your sleep messes with your mood. Give that up. Food. Obviously, do intermittent fasting because that's good for you. It's good for autophagy. Autophagy starts your cell repair. It's good for a load of other health, has a load of other health benefits. I'm just really conscious about what I eat, when I eat. I don't eat any takeaways anymore, although I say that, and I did have one for the first time in, I can't even remember when, the other day as a treat. Yeah, and not going out and just focusing on work, just focusing on doing everything to put myself in a better position for my kids and to put myself in a better position mentally and physically. And, doing 2 hours of like military marching, that's what I like to call it, sleep, every day, so that I am physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually prepared for anything at any point in time. And that's just what I've been doing. And they can't stand it. They literally cannot stand it. My positivity, my positivity is repelling people. Literally. It's funny. It's like, people are so negative that they are repelled by positive people. Isn't that crazy? I think that's crazy. And you can see it just on some of the posts, because I have started posting because I watched something. Who's it? What's his name? I forget now. But he was saying about posting on all social media. So because I was just on YouTube, I was just doing this because I took myself off them for a reason. And I've remained off them for the same reasons, but I still post. I just don't use YouTube, use them like I used to. So I'm not on my phone. Like, I can't even, it's crazy when I look back on it, and I used to spend so much time just scrolling through Facebook or Instagram. I don't do that now at all. All I do is just put a post if I think it's relevant and share it. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm up to. But I will put these things in about this narcissistic, because when you listen, when you hear these things, and it's gonna ring, a bell is gonna ring with you, because you'll go, oh my god, like you'll see it, and then all of a sudden you'll see it in people. It'll be clear as day. And if you see it in people, avoid them. Truly. Particularly in relationships, and people that are in relationships with these, you need to, if their behavior is escalated over a period of time in a negative direction, and you just, you need to get out for safety. And not only that, you've got kids in these scenarios. And I know because I've been there, and it's not coming from a place of judgment. And nothing I say comes from a place of judgment, because trust me when I say I have done many a thing. So, but if you've got kids in these situations, you're raising more narcissists, and that is the truth. Firstly, you're causing trauma it is causing trauma whether you like it or not to your children are witnessing, whichever way it is, man or woman, man against a woman or woman against a man. It's causing them trauma either witnessing it or hearing it, and then the other things that go alongside it will tend to be alcohol, drugs, anger, violence, all of that, neglect in some way, somehow. And all of that will impact the children. And as much as you try and hide it from them, they know. And that's if they're that's if it doesn't go to including them, because obviously it can that kind of dynamic and violence can escalate into them children getting abused as well. So I just say be careful. You can't change them. You can't force that change anyway. And the best thing you can do, because as much as you want to love them through it, like being in their face, it just doesn't work. So either space might, if they're not, because there's obviously degrees of severity. Space might make them realise or make the changes necessary or do the healing, because you can heal. But if it's really bad, you need to just get out. I know it's like, I can sit here and say that now, but there will be a way. It doesn't feel like it at the time when you're in it, but there is a way. And you've got to find it. You've got to find it and get out. And then also be prepared. And this is, again, you've got to be prepared for the backlash. I was saying about the scapegoating. So if there's more than one of them and they're in a fucking group and you speak out against one or more of said group, you've got to be mentally prepared for that backlash. And that's why you've got to also not give a fuck about what anyone says and not take things personally, and be because they'll just try and use absolutely everything and anything and anyone from any point in time against you. And as I say, that's why I just took myself away and focused on doing exactly what I said I was doing, which is working. So anyway, that was just an update based on recent events. So the battle continues. Now, there was this thing I watched today about, I'll put it in. It was this guy saying about how he manifests with water. I was like, what is this? Tell me. And then I looked it up, and it's actually I started watching it, and he was talking about the same scientist. And I mentioned him before. His name is Masaru Emoto. Now, Masaru Emoto did this science experiment that I told you about before with the rice. I'll just go over it again quick. So we had the 3 pots of rice, the rice that he spoke positively to, the rice that was just neutral, and the rice that he spoke negatively to. And over time, he did it every day, and over time, the nothing changed with the neutral. The rice that he spoke negatively to went black and mouldy and nasty, and then the rice that he spoke positively to went like a rainbowy sort of pretty color, anyway, if you want to call it that. And obviously, when I mentioned it before, then I was thinking about obviously this goes again about the power of words, power of frequency, because words are sounds and sounds is a frequency, so everything is a vibration. When you think a thought, right, or you have that inner monologue or whatever, and you're about to speak, that thought is a frequency, and it travels vibrationally, through frequency to your vocal cords, and your vocal cords vibrate to the frequency of your thought. And that is how we produce sound in words. And then those words are picked up by you through your ear, which is frequency, translated back into the frequency to your brain. So it is all frequency. Everything is frequency, everything is vibration, everything is energy. Right? The same scientist, and again, I didn't just make that up, that is science. So this same scientist did an experiment with water, and he's written a book called The True Power of Water. Okay. It says internationally known researcher Dr. Masaru Mutu challenged prevailing ideas of illness with his previous book, The Hidden Messages in Water, which demonstrates that molecules of water are affected by thoughts, words, and feelings. This is science, right? And that water contains extraordinary therapeutic powers unrecognized by Western medicine. In this follow-up, he takes that research one step further by exploring the healing power of water. For example, the curative capabilities of water, the capability of prayer to change water, the response of water to music, and how an individual can promote the purity of rainwater. He explores the limitations of Western medicine and explains how many conditions that are thought of as hereditary may not necessarily be so. Written for a wide range of audiences, from cultural creatives to advocates for natural living, The True Power of Water shows how this most basic liquid that is called the foundation of life holds the key to sustained good health and well-being. I'm going to put this in here. So now I'm going to tell you what this experiment was. So he had, similar to the rice, but with water. So he had different test tubes of water. All the water was from the same source. So whatever source that was, it was all the same water. It wasn't like one tap water, one bottle of water, or whatever. So it's all the same water. Put them in test tubes. And he did the same process. So he kind of spoke positively or negatively to water to see if it made any. So this is the first phase, let's call it that. So positively or negatively, he spoke to it. He also played different music. So played like love music, different kinds of music, right the way up to like angry. right? And then he put cards with words, right? So put cards with like love, hate, etc. in the water. Then what he did is he froze the water, froze all of those. And once they'd frozen, he took them out and he put he chipped off a bit and put it under a microscope to look at the actual cells, not cells. You know what I'm saying? Under the molecules, thank you. Oh. Um, so he did that under the microscope, and guess what? They were different. So the all of the ones that are associated with the positive, so positive verbally, positive music, positive words written on cards in the water, structurally, molecularly. No, that's definitely not a word. I've made that one up. You know what I mean. Under the microscope were different. They formed perfect crystals. And all of the negative ones, negative words, negative, angry music, angry, hateful words, they didn't form the same. They formed a darker, more, what's the word? Sharper, just a completely different crystal, a darker, denser thing, right? And the reason why this is important, I mean, obviously it's Buckingham, like, anyway, but here's the thing. We ourselves are made up of 70 to 80% water. So, and I've said it before, so I'll say it again. And it impacts it even more on this basis, because if you're thinking negative thoughts attract more negative thoughts. Those negative thoughts are then going to create what? Negative intentions, negative actions, negative consequences. And then actually all of those things will attract more negative people, more negative actions and just life experience. But internally as well, inside your body, because he's already proven that there is an association and a scientific proven impact on the difference of those things on water, and we ourselves are 70 to 80% water. So if we've got if we're thinking positive thoughts, which on the opposite scale attracts more positive thoughts, more positive intentions, more positive actions, and that is positive energy, and then you're projecting that and you're attracting that. So more positive people will come to you, more positive experiences, better life experience. But internally as well, if you're thinking positive thoughts and saying those things over and over, and that frequency is going through your body and the water within your body, then it's going to be a purer, healthier system on the basis of that research. See? It's crazy. Well, it's not crazy. It's completely logical on the basis of scientific evidence. And all of these things as well, that's why it is so important. It's so important to recognize the words, the power of all of these things, the power of words, the power of water. And these are so, sounds so, I don't know, so kind of going back like to basics, but it's it seems like we need to go there, like, because we didn't know before. Well, I didn't know. So clever people do. Clever people know these things. People that do this as a, obviously as a living, and people that have access to, who are just constant learners and are highly educated, they know all these things and they're using it to their advantage to manipulate, because they know most people don't. But this is why it's important right now, especially if we truly harness the power of all of these things that are just there, just recognizing when, going back, as I say, I something as simple as, do you want to be happy? And if the answer is yes, what are you doing about it? You know what I mean? What are you actively doing to make yourself happy? Because those two questions just there, I don't think I'd ask myself. I was just in the midst of the pain and anger and the depression and the whatever else for so long of my life. I just kind of thought I was there. That was it. I thought, that was it. I'm destined for this. There's no getting out of this. And then as soon as I asked those questions, and it was only because I didn't even know, I don't know, I just woke up and I was like, well, this can't be it. This can't be that. I can't, this isn't me. I've lost me completely along the way. Like, what happened? Like, where did I go? And then I just thought, oh, you know what? I'm going to ask those questions and then follow the answer. And it sounds so simple, but that's all that's how it started. And then from there, it just spiraled into like an obsession with learning everything about everything, basically. So, and just learning all the best things from all the best things, you know, learning all of the, whoever's an expert at something, like how have they become an expert? Why are they an expert at it? What do they do that makes them an expert? What are their traits? What are their habits that make them happy and successful and abundant and wealthy? What are they doing? I want to do it. I want to go there. And I'm prepared to put in the effort to achieve it. That's the other thing. That's the other element of it is, not only do you want to be happy, what are you doing to make yourself happy? And then are you prepared to make the changes that you need to make to get there? Because there's loads of different routes. You could do hypnotherapy, you can do all of these different healing and short, courses and things like that. There's those things, but ultimately there are things that you're going to have to do on a daily basis to keep it up. It's not like you get to happy. Happy is not a destination, it's a journey. So, you know, these things you've got to continually do. It's not it'd be nice if it, some people are just like that, but it's all part of it. But healthy eating, exercising, just healthier thinking. And I listen to loads of it, like different sleep affirmations and so on. 'Cause I listen to stuff 24/7. I literally do. So I'll be watching something on here with an earphone in, listening to something else as well, whether it's affirmations or a documentary or whatever. And then I listen to stuff all through the night. I put on a sleep meditation or sleep affirmations or something, music, and that's helped me. And I feel so much better for it. I feel so much better. And I'm not saying it's all punky dory all the time. I wish I was like that. But sometimes I am a moody bitch. And I just put my hands up. But I try and I recognize it now, and I try and stop myself. So if I know, because I'm very aware of myself, that's the best way to say it. So if I know, as soon as I start getting a bit antsy, I'm like, no, why am I feeling that way? What's happened? What have I just done that's made me have that sudden wave of bitch, basically? And then I'll try and rectify it there and then, rather than let it go on. And that works. And there's a lady, what's her name? Abraham Hicks. I'll put some links into stuff. And it is just being aware about how you feel at every moment, because your feelings and your emotions are your guidance system. That's how she says. That's how she describes it. So as soon as you don't feel good, as soon as you're feeling a little bit low or a bit angry or a bit whatever, catch it there and then, straight away. What is it? What is it? What is it that is making me that way right there? And nip it in the bud. Just be aware of it as soon as it happens. I don't want to feel this way. The fact that I feel this way means that something is wrong, because I shouldn't feel that way. You should feel happy. We should all be happy. Happy is for everybody. Joy is for everybody. And we can go in and stay in that place as long as we care about how we feel. So you've got to care enough about yourself and care enough about your feelings and how whatever you're doing to yourself is making you feel bad, or people that you're around, things that they are doing or saying that are making you feel that way, and then rectify it and do whatever it needs to do, whether that is whatever it is. Because you should care about how you feel and you should feel happy. It is possible for everyone to be happy. Yeah, and I know that this is a weird conversation to be having during a pandemic, but at the same time, this is not a death sentence. And people are carrying on like this is a death sentence. And it isn't. And all of that negative, on the basis of the conversation that we're having here, what I've just said about the water and the thoughts and the words and the intentions and the actions and the negative, and the negative going to the negative, and how that impacts your body and your physiology, it is important that we nip this in the bud right now. It's important because it will have, not only is it important for everyone to be, happy, but happier will be healthier as well. You're less likely to, as you know, this guy's research proves that thinking positively, speaking positively, acting positively has that impact on the water in your body that flows through everything. And we can't be afraid anymore. Shouldn't be afraid. There's, everyone that's lost someone, and anyone that's been lost along the way, just through history to get here now, they just would not want us to give up now. They'd want us to turn it around. And the way to do that is just to get control of ourselves. And our emotions and our reactions and what we consume and who we associate with. And just think a bit more. And then, because otherwise you're just susceptible to manipulation by narcissists who are in control, by covert narcissists who are in businesses or government. And when you've got a lot of people that are afraid, not only is it impacting their own health, fear has a physiological response, and that will ultimately cause health issues as a knock-on effect of that. But also, when you're in sort of despair, depression, fear, anxiety, stress, those states, it makes you susceptible to manipulation and control on a narcissist level, that kind of level. And we're just watching it play out before our eyes. We're watching it. You can see them. It's like, how can you even think that people are going to believe a fucking word you say when you're just being caught out lying every single day? Like, what? And they're carrying on like it's like they're trying to sweep it under the carpet, as I said, the narcissistic family cult. So they're just trying to, pretend like they're not doing what they're doing, even though everyone knows they're doing it. It's like, how long can this go on for, really? How long can it go on for before something serious happens? When I say serious, I'm just talking about, like a mass rebellion. Because, protesting every day. People are protesting every day around the world. Like, let's make no mistake about it. And massive protests of a weekend. And more people are joining it. But they're not doing anything, are they? They're not listening. They're listening to little things here and there just to sort of try and placate the masses, but not on the actual the real shit that we care about, like our freedom. So I don't know. Who knows? I have gone on for like an hour, but I haven't spoken to you guys for ages. I've got loads more stuff. Oh, what to do? Maybe I'll just do that tomorrow. Yeah. This is the last day of the quiff. Tomorrow, I will have long hair. Anyway. Oh, I tell you what, I did promise. I did say I was going to learn. Give me a sec. Let me just refresh my memory. I did say I was going to learn how to say I love you in 5 different languages a day. And aha, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I've got 5. I'm going to start with Arabic, which is Anna. Anna Ohibuk. Eu te amo, which is Portuguese. Je t'aime, which is French. Te quiero, which is Spanish. Ti amo, which is Italian. I thought I'd start with the easy ones. Ease myself in before I go into the hard languages. So, I love you guys. I love you guys so much. I'm so thankful and grateful for all of you. I can't even tell you truly how much you've all helped me these last 16 months. Like, I can't put it into words. I can't put it into words. Words wouldn't do it justice. So all I can say is I love you, but I mean it. I really mean it. So I will see you tomorrow with new hair, and I hope you all have a lovely day, evening, afternoon, whatever you're doing, wherever you are. We can do this, we will do this, we must do this, we will get through this, and we will do it together.